I'm Kathy Love with the University of Arkansas System Division of Agriculture Cooperative Extension Service, and I've been doing a series of videos on freezing as a way for us to put by a little extra food, especially during this time when we are trying to stay home and not go to the grocery store so often. Yesterday we talked about freezing vegetables and specifically talked about blanching and how important that is. We did blanch some carrots, and these are ready now to package. So today I want to talk about packaging for the freezer. So when you're thinking about packaging for the freezer, there's some important things to know. First of all, your packaging needs to be moisture and vapor proof. It needs to be durable. It needs to not get brittle when it's frozen. It needs to protect your food from off odors that may be in your freezer. And it needs to be easy to seal and easy to mark. Remember that your freezer is not only extremely cold, but it is extremely dry. So these kinds of packagings will help to protect your food from freezer burn. So before we get to appropriate packaging, I just want to cover some inappropriate packaging that people are tempted to use. One of them are bread bags from your bread from the store, or even the bag that you carried your groceries in from the store. These are not moisture proof or vapor proof, and these are not clean. Also, just regular plastic wraps are not appropriate, or regular storage plastic bags. Regular glass jars are not good either. These will break if you freeze them. And plastic containers. I know it's really tempting to want to reuse our plastic containers, but these are not very good either. So let's look at what we really ought to use to freeze. So first of all, probably the easiest and the one we think of first are freezer storage bags. These come in a variety of sizes, and that's actually what we're going to use for our carrots today. But you can also use rigid containers. These are freezer plastic containers from a canning company. They have nice straight sides. They have screw-on lids. Having a tight-fitting lid is really important. Or there are just other plastic containers that you can tell if they're a freezer container by looking on the bottom, and there will usually be a snowflake, and that way you know it's appropriate for the freezer. You can also use canning jars. Now, canning jars are different from regular glass jars because they've been tempered. We would recommend canning jars that don't have shoulders so that it's easy to get your food in and easy to get your food out. You can use traditional canning jars, but you need to leave plenty of headspace because remember, frozen food expands, and if it expands too much, it can crack around the shoulders. So let's go ahead and package our carrots. As I said, I'm going to use a freezer bag. With fruits and vegetables, you don't want to use gigantic freezer bags. You want them to freeze quickly. You also usually want to just freeze as much as you can use in a single meal. So in my carrots go. And with freezer bags, you really want to press out as much air as you can before you seal your bag. Now, another important step in packaging is to label your product. So I'm going to label this carrots. I'm going to put the date and how much. I have about a pound of carrots. In bagged produce, you want to flatten it out as much as you can so that when you put it in the freezer, it's going to be flat. This will help it freeze quickly, and then when you get ready to defrost it, it'll help defrost quickly. You want to put it in the coldest part of your freezer so it'll freeze quickly. Now there's one other technique for freezing that I want to cover next time, and that's tray freezing. And that's really appropriate for things that you want to be able to take out of the bag individually and then reseal your bag. So thank you for joining me today. Join me next time for tray freezing. I will be posting the National Center for Home Food Preservation website at the end of this video, and thank you again.